It's now time to introduce our final speakers for today. Greg Council is VP of Marketing and Product Management at Parascript, and Mike Hurley is President at Bridge. Greg is responsible for market vision and product strategy at Parascript. He has over 20 years of experience in solution development and marketing within the information management market, including search, content management, data capture, and content analytics. Mike Hurley is a founder and the president of Bridge. Bridge is a boutique IT solutions provider on a mission to help companies turn documents into data. With intelligent capture, he's worked with dozens of companies over the past 25 years to align people, processes, and technology to achieve success with intelligent capture, enterprise content management, workflow, and interoperability. So I'm really excited to discover what Greg and Michael have in store for us on the intriguing topic of turning the dark art of handling attachments into a reliable science with AI. Over to you both.
Thank you, Rachel. Hello, everyone. I am the VP of Products and Marketing at Parascript, but I'm not going to be doing most of the talking today, which is why we're bringing on Mike Hurley, an industry veteran and expert within healthcare and health insurance automation. I would actually call him a serial entrepreneur because he's been involved with this for a long time and seen just about everything. As Rachel indicated or said, the topic today is something I think that strikes fear deep in the hearts of a lot of people, which is the attachments and how we deal with them. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. Mike, what's the problem out there and what does it look like?
Well, Greg, I want to give you a shameless plug for your LinkedIn post today. It was a great article, but you really covered it really well. This issue of attachments has been going on for a long time, as long as I've been dealing with insurance and especially health insurance companies. So first thing to note, CAQH had a bunch of really good data, and you mentioned some of it in your post. But there are a lot of attachments out there. Something like 256 million a year in the U.S. alone. That's a ton, and that was during COVID. If you think about it, that's bound to go up. And while people are chipping away at trying to drive the number down, it really continues to go up as insurance companies require additional documents to kind of support payments. $590 million spend according to CAQH. And by the way, CAQH, I give them a lot of credit. Their index that they post once a year is some of the best data out there. And there's not a lot of good data about this topic, but they do a great job. But $590 million spend each year, which is just hard to believe that could be going to care, and instead it's going to move attachments around manually. Each one takes 11 minutes each, which is also, I'd rather be having doctors and folks working on productive stuff than finding attachments and getting them over. So the big thing, $377 million potential savings, 8 minutes per transaction of savings potential. Really big numbers when you look at this problem across the board. And I think the most frustrating thing for me personally, because I've been involved in this topic for some time, only 22% electronic adoption to date, which really says that we've got a long way to go. Almost 80% of the stuff done of the attachments sent are sent electronically, so are done manually. Sorry.
That's just amazing. I mean, obviously, the numbers that you point to show that it's clearly a very painful problem, very expensive problem. And I know, in readings, providers hate it when it deals with things like prior authorization and whatnot. Why is this still a problem? What are the things that conspire to create all the issues, both on the provider side and the payer side alike?
Yeah, and so I know we have an international audience, so I can't speak to every country and how their systems work, but certainly in the U.S., insurers are requiring more and more information about payment of claims. So they're asking for information with claims, after claims and audits, to prior approve or prior authorization of claims. There are referrals that require them. It seems everybody's asking for a medical record. And unfortunately, fax is still king. I mean, it's still the predominant way that information is shared in the U.S. with regard to this topic, certainly with attachments. And the challenge for both payers and providers is that to get payment for the insurer to pay and for the provider to get paid, they're usually having to deal with clinical information that one has and the other needs in order to pay the bill. And those are usually medical records, don't have to be, but usually are, and are usually in some EHR, electronic health record, or EMR, electronic medical record, in some system that people are typically now printing to a fax server and sending to a payer to solve this issue. It's really nuts.
So you said the dreaded word, the fax machine. You know, I know on the U.S. side there are a lot of different initiatives to try to deal with attachments. You know, what do you think is going to really move the needle in terms of solving this problem, or what are the things going on out there that could help, and what are the limitations of those approaches in your opinion?
Yeah, well, right now, as I mentioned, fax is still kind of reigning the roost, and that's really unfortunate. It's very low quality and causes all kinds of workflow problems. But it's still the big method by which people are exchanging this information. And as you know, most consumers can't even spell fax, don't have one. I can only remember their grandfather had one, right? So fax is still a big part of it. I think a lot of the insurance companies believed that portals were going to solve, be the magic bullet for this and really solve the problem. And so gobs of money was invested in portals only to really deliver medium results, right? We saw electronic transactions at 22%, and payers spent hundreds of millions of dollars on portal initiatives over the last 10, 15 years. So that's another method. Third method is there are some EDI transactions out there that cover this. So there's an EDI X12 275 transaction that allows you to do this, for example, but still used in very sparingly. There's also some new initiatives. One's called Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resources, or FHIR. FHIR has just started up. It's its infancy. It looks promising, but there's very few use cases and very only early adopters at this point. So it's a pretty muddled landscape. There's really lots of different ways that this can come in, which is again another problem. But I continue to hear from my customers that they're really not sure which horse to bet on, right? Where do I put my chips? I've only got limited chips to invest, right? Where am I going to put them? What bets am I going to put them on so that I'm well positioned in the future? And it's a conundrum. It's really hard.
Right. So, I mean, obviously there are things that are trying to be planned for the future while the problems exist right now. What's the best approach? What should the payer side really be focused on? And is there kind of a, to borrow the name of your consultancy, is there a bridge from here to the future?
Yeah, hence the name. Thanks for the plug. I like that as well. So I think the quote up on the screen there is a good one. The question that many of our customers have been asking is, hey, where do I put my bet? Which horse is going to win the race, right? And I think that's really the wrong question. I think if you reframe the question in a slightly different way and say, what can we do today with existing technologies that'll create that bridge, that'll start solving some or all of this attachment problem without an enormous expense or rewiring the entire system or getting everybody on the same standard. What can we use today to get that going? I think once you reframe the question in that way, like what can I do today, it's more empowering than saying, oh, like 22% of our transactions are electronic today. So I think reframing it is the first thing we could do. And one of the ways our customers have been reframing it is we're using intelligent capture. And many people have used OCR over many decades, probably 25, 30 years now, maybe longer. And it's been very successful, but it had limited success. It was very costly. And intelligent capture is a little different. It takes on OCR, barcodes, checkboxes, but also does a great job at handwriting recognition. And when combined with machine learning and AI, it's really changed how you can attach. You can go after things like attachments. So we're seeing a lot of people adopt intelligent capture, take in those faxes, take in the PDFs, and turn that to data.
Got it. So if I were to wrap up, I mean, there's obviously a significant problem with handling attachments in a variety of processes. And, while standardization and interoperability is certainly one way to head for the future, it sounds like, intelligent document processing or intelligent capture can be kind of not just a bolt-on capability, but something that you can use to implement a solution now that will help you meet those standards in the future, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think I think one thing that I don't want people to take away from this discussion is that don't invest in electronic means. Don't do that. I think the future is one of these is going to emerge as the leader and become a standard, but many standards take a long time. Prior authorizations have an electronic standard, have had one for several years, maybe 10 years. It only has about 5 to 10% adoption. So
right.
These things take a long time. So the message is really, and what we're talking to our customers about is, hey, taking on what we can do today, let's start looking at interoperability and how we can take it on, but let's really look at Capture today. Capture works. It's proven. It's proven in very high volume implementations for some of the largest insurance companies out there. So it's not a new technology. The challenge in the past has been cost, right? It's expensive to set up, or I should say the older systems are expensive to set up. They required like crazy zealot technical people who really knew how to put on the hood and really get it going. And I think that's really changed. You can AI and machine learning have made it possible to have the machines learn the forms and set themselves up and learn over time, which has really completely changed the model. So I think as people look at this problem, I think they should really explore the concept of intelligent document processing, intelligent capture as a way to tackle this while these interoperability standards get going.
All right. Well, Rachel, I'll turn it back to you. There you have it, straight from the mouth of an industry veteran and expert in automation on the topic of handling attachments within payer processing.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Thank you to Greg and Mike for a really, really insightful discussion and for wrapping up today's event in such style. I'd also like to thank all of our moderators for today, Chris Franklin, Robin Roberson, Christina Lucas, Michael Saltzman and Karen Furtado. They really steered the conversation beautifully, so I really appreciate your support today. Thanks, of course, to all of today's speakers. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules to share your insights with our community, and I'm sure our audience does too. Thank you to today's sponsors, Usher, Evolution IQ, ClearSpeed, Guidewire, Uncork, Precisely, Blue Prism and Parascript. Without their support, events like this would not be possible. So if you haven't done so already, please do take the time to reach out to companies of interest and spark a conversation about how they might help you to transform your business. Thanks, of course, to everybody in our audience, especially those of you who submitted questions to our speakers. It was great to see so many of you attending the conference live today. And of course, all of the content from today and from yesterday will be available to view on demand post-event. Just give us a week or so to tidy it up and get it over to you. Finally, just a quick reminder about the content that we've got lined up for tomorrow, when we'll be focusing on how to improve operational efficiency for high impact business outcomes. We'll be kicking off at 9:55 Eastern with a keynote from Patrick Nails, Executive Vice President and Chief Claims Officer at Arch Insurance, before moving on to a packed program where you'll hear from another stellar lineup of speakers from top tier carriers, including The Hartford, American Family, Kin, Hiscox, Markel, Tower Hill, plus many, many more. Have a fantastic evening and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. All the best.